Hey, Tommy, I've got 3 questions for you about this Toyota Corolla Cross. Number 1, why is this color so familiar?
Well, that's because this is one of the best colors in the industry. This is the Soul Red Metallic that you'll find on Mazdas. It's now available on the Corolla Cross.
Is that because they're built in the same factory?
That's right. Both this car and the Mazda CX-50 are built in the same plant in Alabama.
All right, question number 2. How much does this car cost?
Well, it's about $34,000 as spec. This is a Corolla Cross Hybrid Nightshade.
All right, and number 3, why is it dirty?
That's a great question. It's dirty because I just took this thing off-road and put it through the TFL slip test to see how the all-wheel drive system works, and that video is coming soon. You have to stay tuned to alltfl.com, but in today's video, we're going to take you for a full tour around the Corolla Cross, get it out on the road, and find out, is it worth $34,000?
So let's start where we always start, which is under the hood. And this is a hybrid.
Oh, gosh. This is why we always try it ahead of time. There we go. So this is
I got it.
a 2-liter transverse mounted 4-cylinder with a set of electric motors. And this vehicle makes 196 combined system horsepower. So the way that these all-wheel drive systems work is you've got the engine and a set of electric motors up front powering the front wheels, and then you have another motor, electric motor only, out back for the rear wheels.
And the result of that is some pretty staggering fuel economy.
Yeah, so we're looking at real world mid-40s. So on my brief loop back home and back, which is about 45 miles, I averaged right around 44, 45 mpg, which is just amazing. Now, granted, that's mostly country roads, about 55 miles an hour, but the fuel economy on the hybrid Corolla Cross is outstanding.
What do you think of this giant maw? I mean, it is pretty prominent.
Well, if you don't like the look of this 2025, just wait a few more months because Toyota just dropped the refresh 2026 model year, which has kind of changed around the nose a little bit. But this Nightshade is kind of the best looking, especially in this Soul Red, because it combines the black accent. So everything's going to be blacked out. You'll notice like the lower front trim here, the emblem, the mirror caps, the roof rails are all black.
Yeah, even the wheels. You know, I thought that this trend of blacking everything out kind of died 5 years ago, but it keeps going strong.
Now, as we come along the side here, Jen, some interesting little design cues, like this little scallop, which I always thought looked pretty nice in these Corolla Crosses. It continues this hood line down here across the door and into the front fender. This Nightshade has these 18-inch black wheels mounted in the Goodyear Assurance all-season tires. And then coming around to the back here, you're going to notice, of course, we've got roof rails. There's been a few little tweaks for 2025 model year, including things like the little shark fin, which is now across all of the trims out back there. And then they've also moved some of the badges around a little bit. So we've got Corolla Cross here underneath the left taillight, and then SE all-wheel drive there on the right.
Now, I was there when they unveiled this model. Would it be fair to say that this is, you know, the Corolla for those people who want more utility, who want a little bit more functionality, who want a little more size?
Yeah, I mean, it sits a little taller than a standard Corolla. It's got a little bit more room on the inside. It's got a really good sized trunk. Now, this one does have the premium JBL audio system, so you are going to find a subwoofer back here along the rear door. And then it doesn't have a spare tire, but we do have a little tire inflation kit underneath the floor there. Now, the seats do fold. I'm going to show you that process just over here. You pull this little lever, and then those are going to fold down. Let me scoot this front seat forward.
And this is where the lack of size comes into play.
I don't know, it's pretty usable.
Well, let me show you a problem that I have, Tommy. I just drove this car here, so I am going to be sitting behind myself.
Okay.
Let's see how much room I have.
Move the backpack here. There you go.
And the answer is not enough. I mean, my legs are hitting the seat, and of course I'm, you know, on the taller side. My head isn't hitting the ceiling, but I do feel a little cramped in the back. I do like the fact that we've got air vents for the rear passengers, and this red stitching, red trim,
Red insert,
red accents, I like a lot. I mean, it brings some life to what is, in general, pretty drab and kind of dull gray interior.
All right, well, let's kind of hop into the front here. I'll show you some of the features up front. Here, I'll get behind the wheel so Jen can shoot through that.
Okay.
So this Nightshade is pretty well equipped. It's not quite the top trim. There is, I believe the XLE comes in above the Nightshade. And in here, we're going to find an 8-inch touchscreen screen. Can I please have the key, Dad?
You can.
So, of course, push button start here.
You have the key.
Oh, I do have the key. Push button start, that's going to glide the interior into life here. And then that 8-inch touchscreen is going to come into action. Now, for 2026, we are going to see some technology improvements as well, but I actually think that this older Toyota system is very functional and works extremely well. It does still have volume knob, which is great. It can be a little slow, especially to boot up, but easy to use. It does everything you need it to do. It's got Apple CarPlay, it's got Android Auto, it's got user profiles. Now down below here, we're going to find our single zone automatic climate control. No dual zone on this version. It's got all your hard controls, which is great, with dual knobs. We are missing some buttons here.
Yeah, 3 of them. I wonder what those are for.
3 buttons missing there. You'll notice that in this particular one, we don't have heated seats, so I wouldn't be surprised if those were your heated seat controls, but we do have a wireless charger, and I do really like this about this system, is it has a little lip. It's got like a little molding surrounding it, so when you put your phone in there, it stays nice and grippy. I think that's really good. And then I really enjoy the fact that this car still has a conventional shifter, so you can still control park, reverse, neutral drive, and sport modes all with that shifter, which is great.
You know what, Tommy? This is kind of a odd mix of, Jen, why don't you jump in the back, we'll take it for a ride. This is kind of an odd mix of getting, some really kind of high-end and interesting stuff, and then missing out on some basic stuff. I'll explain to you what I mean by that.
Yeah, you want to scoot that seat back a little?
Oh, well, Jen's back there. I don't want to unsure.
You can squish it back a little bit.
All right. So what I'm talking about is, for instance, you have paddle shifters, but you don't have lumbar.
Yep, that's right. That's a good point. You also have adaptive cruise control, but then look at the gauges here, Jen. The very old school gauges where they're mechanical, and then you just got this little teeny tiny info screen there in the center screen. So if we look at the pricing on this model, you can see there's a fuel economy, 42 combined, 45 city, 38 highway. And then in terms of options, we have the 9-speaker JBL audio system for $800. It's got the moonroof, which is $940. It's got the premium paint, that crystal red metallic, and then it's got the 2-tone exterior color for $500. So total price is $34,705 after destination.
Which I'm going to say it is kind of a bargain for what you get. You get Toyota's reputation for reliability. You get incredible fuel economy. You get sexy as paint, all for $34,000. And it's a car that I think anybody would be very happy with, especially, let's say, a new high school or college grad, a small family. It kind of works in a lot of different ways. Empty nesters could use this thing. It's got a big bandwidth, Tommy.
Yeah, and it's actually a really nice car to drive. So it's very comfortable. It's very quiet and refined on the road, if not exciting. I wouldn't describe this as an enthusiast driving experience, but as someone who's coming out of, let's say you're upgrading from an older RAV4, an older CR-V, this is about the size of an older RAV4 CR-V, and it's way more refined and way more fuel efficient. So merging onto the road here, I'll put it in sport mode, full throttle. You get a nice little burst of acceleration with those electric motors, and then it kind of tapers off, but it's perfectly adequate.
I have a little bone to pick with Toyota, and that is right here. I love this button. It's the hold button. So when you push it down, basically it turns this into an electric car-like experience where you don't have to keep your foot on the brake when you come to a stoplight, except every time you get out of the car and stop it and start it, you have to hit this button again, which is kind of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it doesn't hold that. That's a great point.
I wonder how far you can get in EV mode.
Not very far.
No?
So you can't go very fast. Like even at 30 miles an hour, we're going too fast. And then, there we go. Now we're in EV mode, and any kind of acceleration, it kicks you out of EV mode, yeah. But the one thing I will notice about driving this car is, for example, right now, in your normal hybrid mode, cruising around at 40 miles an hour, the engine's off. So the car is really willing to kick off the internal combustion engine and run on electricity, and it does that constantly. So it's constantly on and off, but the transition is pretty smooth. So unless you're really paying attention, you probably won't notice it.
You know what I recently learned? People have been worried about stop-start, right? They're worried that it's bad for the starter. It's bad for the drivetrain when you're constantly turning on and turning off the engine. But did you know that the engineers have actually upgraded things like the starter so that they last longer, so that if the car is stopping and starting the powertrain, it's designed to do that?
I'm pretty sure this car doesn't have a starter.
It might not have a starter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that these Toyota systems, they just use the integrated. So these have a CVT, but it's not a belt and a cone.
ECVT.
It's an ECVT, which is a planetary gear set and a set of electric motors. And I think it's those electric motors that help propel the car are also the motors that help kick the engine on and off. So they're meant to be used time in and time again, hundreds of times per every drive, and they're built for those duty cycles.
So here's another example of a weird mix of nice and not so nice. So you've got these little handles, right?
Yeah.
They're on both passenger and driver side. You've got these little extenders, which is a very thoughtful touch for the sunshade, but yet you only have one zone climate control.
That's all you need, though.
Yeah.
Two-zone climate is just for people that are indecisive.
Okay, tell your
That's
wife
what
that.
I'm
Tell your wife
convinced.
that when she's hot and you're cold,
I'm
or vice
convinced of
versa.
that. It's all the same air. You're all breathing the same air.
Uh,
This also, by the way, has the Toyota safety systems, Toyota safety sense. So it's got all of the stuff. It's got blind spot monitoring, emergency braking, adaptive cruise control. It's got pretty good lane centering, and all of that comes included in the Corolla crossover for a pretty good value. So look, the thing about this car is it's maybe not an enthusiast car, but as basic, reliable, efficient transportation that'll hold your family, it's excellent.
So it competes with cars like the Nissan Kicks, right? There's this whole new crop of small crossovers
Yeah,
that
for
are
sure.
becoming very popular.
I mean, Hyundai Kona is a big one. Kia Seltos is another big one, right?
Yeah.
So it's this kind of compact, maybe you would call it subcompact crossover.
Boy, you did get a dirty Tommy.
Yeah, we went mudding a little bit. So we got a little stuck in some mud, and we'll have that all-wheel drive torture test coming up shortly. But as a whole, I really like this Corolla Cross. It's just an everyday run around. It's very efficient and easy to use, and I would strongly recommend it.
Yeah, and I would say this is a great car for all of you out there who are dipping your toe into the electrified world.
Yep.
You're not ready to go full EV yet, but you're kind of curious because this kind of is a nice middle ground between the electric world and the internal combustion world.
And if you want to see a review of the upcoming 26 model, you're going to have to stay tuned for a few more months because I think drives on that vehicle are coming up this fall. So 2025 still around, still kicking around, or wait for 26 and get some of the design and technology improvements, but probably pay more.
And I would say, professional tip, if you're going to get this car, Crystal Soul Metallic. I think this will hold its value because I think people who know what this color is will always desire this color. I already desire it because I thought it was the most beautiful color you can get on a Mazda CX-5, and I'm sorry, MX-5, and here it is on a Corolla Cross. Who would have thunk? The world is a crazy place, Tommy. As always, this is Roman.
And Tommy and Jen behind the camera. Jen, if you're not in the know, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Wow.